Hi, I'm Noah, and welcome to An Internet Thing. Last week, I showed you my solution to the pertinent pandemic of peckish PC players, and spoiler alert, it didn't really work. So, today I'm going to be building a revised version, powered by a creative interpretation of the laws of physics and exploitation of thermodynamics. So let's get started. The basic principle is this time we're going to have a custom water cooling loop with no radiator. It's going to be on both the GPU and CPU, so that should hopefully double our heat output. I have water blocks on each one with these wonderful 3D printed mounts that I made. And finally, to make sure that both of our CPU and our GPU are isolated from our hot water, we're going to have thermoelectric Peltier modules, which basically, they kind of say, screw you thermodynamics, and ram the heat from the cold side to the hot side instead of the other way around. So the cold thing is actually going to heat up the hot thing. It's kind of weird, but it's gonna work, hopefully. Let's find out. So let's get started. So I started out by assembling the coolers. I took my purple 3D printed mounts, I kind of jammed the water block in there, put some thermal paste on it, put the Peltier module in. Now the Peltier module is actually directional, so one side is the cold side, one side is the hot side. This was not labeled anywhere. So I thought, you guys can help me. I put a pole out there, and well, that wasn't helpful. So I just put it in the direction that I thought it would go, and hopefully it works. So then I slapped together the other one, and now I'm going to throw them on the computer. Attaching the CPU mount was actually fairly straightforward. I designed the whole thing to be AMD compatible, so it actually fits into an AM2 socket, which is really great. So I just kind of screwed it into the motherboard using the existing backplate, and that was really awesome. The GPU mount, however... So the GPU is not meant to be dismantled. However, here I am dismantling it. So it has what's called a bare die, which essentially means that the silicon substrate is exposed, and if you mess it up, which is very easy to do, you will want to die. See what I did there? Oh god, I'm so not funny. Anyways, it basically just means it's a lot easier to break it because it's very delicate there, and this isn't exactly a great thing, especially during a global GPU shortage. However, it doesn't really matter because the GPU in question is a GTX 750 Ti, so it's not exactly in demand. Anyways, I put that on, I managed to get the screws on fairly evenly, so that leads me to believe that it is going to be attached well. Ignore that one standoff, that's just kind of there. I ran out of nuts. So, whatever. Anyways, it all went well enough for me to believe that nothing is seriously wrong with the CPU and GPU. So now that our coolers are attached, it's time to build the water cooling loop. I bought some tubing at the hardware store, and I put it on the barbs. It fits pretty well. I then couldn't find hose clamps, so I just zip tied it on to each barb. Hopefully that'll hold, but we'll see. I then rebuilt the computer, sticking our aging motherboard with our old Athlon 2 inside, and clipping in the GTX 750 Ti, rebuilding everything in the case, and it's all good. Before I wired up the Peltier modules, however, I just gave them a quick test to see which is the hot side and which is the cold side. Why I didn't test this before putting them in the computer, I honestly don't know. I just kind of didn't think of it. So I tested it, and turns out they were on backwards. Anyways, I spliced them into a Molex connector on the 5-volt line. If they aren't giving enough oomph later on, we can always transfer that over to 12 volts. So then I threw the side panel on and tried to put the reservoir in, and it didn't fit because our graphics card was just too long. I thought that removing the cooler would make it perfect and good, but it was about 2 centimeters off, and it's just not gonna go. So I thought of a couple different answers, but I really wanted to look the same as the previous sous-vide cooker, so I decided to just elongate the hole on the one side with some tin snips, which I did. It worked pretty well, and now it fits, sort of. So we're almost done here. All we really need now is a pump. We've got our tubes going into our reservoir, and they're gonna meet up at this outdoor fountain pump I bought at Canadian Tire. So it's got a nice barb on the top to attach the pipes to, and then it just clamps on the bottom with suction cups. Unfortunately, it has its own wall power supply, so I cannot splice it into the computer, which means that the computer will need 2 plugs in order to operate, but that is kind of fine. So we're done. Hopefully it works better than last time. I'm quite proud of this wacky creation regardless. It actually looks really professional. Honestly, those CPU mounts on there, they look good. They look really good. It's weird. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to be testing it out in the next video, hopefully next week. And until then, have a wonderful day, and thanks so much for watching, and subscribe if you feel like it, or don't if you don't like it. If you hated the video, I don't know, do something about it. See ya!